Good afternoon. Now, as introduced, my name is Sjoerd van der Lee. I work within NVIDIA in the professional visualization department. For some people, I might need to introduce NVIDIA a little bit. NVIDIA is a computer chip company, and we make silicon which accelerates very complex compute tasks. One of the first complex compute tasks we accelerated was 3D graphics. So that's about 25 years ago when we were founded. And then we invented the GPU. That was the first big complex task. Nowadays we're accelerating every major AI and high-performance computing system in the world. But we're still very dedicated to professional visualization. So we're not just strong in gaming, but I think everybody uses CAD, BIM, or GIS. Somehow uses the technique from NVIDIA to accelerate their workflow. The next step we're in is NVIDIA Omniverse. NVIDIA Omniverse is not a product as you know. It's more like a platform which connects to current products. 10 minutes is really short, so I hope I can keep it brief as possible. But there's much more info in the slide decks, which will be shared afterward. And when you click on my name in the slide deck, you can send me an email and contact me directly. But first, let me briefly start with a short video as an intro. So the Metaverse begins. That's scary. You probably might all have heard of the Metaverse. The Metaverse is what we call the parallel universum, the digital universe of a digital copy of the real-life world we're in. So if we talk digital twins or anything like that, but also video conferencing through virtual reality or anything like that. Living in a digital world, of acting in a digital world, is what we call the Metaverse. The Metaverse is not something from NVIDIA. It's a public name used by lots of large brands like Facebook and Microsoft, Google. We're just a part of it. It's not a product. It's the second name of the digital parallel universum. If we look at 3D design, 3D design or 3D workflows are traditionally a very complex team sport. There's no 3D content creator who just uses one tool or one tool from one independent software vendor. And more people work in large teams. And especially since COVID came, and everybody started working from home, we see more and more remote teams. So that brought a lot of complexity in collaborating on the same 3D digital content. Like I said, there are many vendors with many tools, and 3D workflows are rising in complexity. That has to do with the quality of the workflows, but also what we're adding as extra data. So not alone ray tracing, but also with the physics which we can simulate, which is really important in simulation, or for exactly in when you're in BIM, working in BIM. 3D models of 3D workflows are not just only in the AEC industry or the media and entertainment industry. At the moment, they're everywhere. So it's used for scientific visualization, robotics. Training of robotics is mostly done in a 3D virtual world, and that's the same for autonomous vehicles. In the past, autonomous vehicles were sent out on the road in a controlled environment, and you need a lot of data to generate an AI model. But today, that is generated in simulation, built in 3D virtual worlds. So, and then we can accelerate the training of the models with just adding extra compute power and extra compute data. But also product design and manufacturing, architecture, engineering and construction, and the traditional M&E market, media and entertainment, game. But I think most of the films you're watching on Netflix nowadays have computer animated graphics in there. No special effects is being done with stuntmen anymore. I think almost everything is done in a virtual world. So there are quite a few new challenges on the horizon, so that the remote working aspect brought international teams or teams on multiple locations, but also teams working from different entities, different companies working together on the same data set. How do you keep integrity of your data set? How do you keep it secure? 3D data sets are growing massively. And across time zones, and how do you know you're working in the right data set? When you're working with multiple applications, you have to import, export, or export, import to do your adjustments in another data set. So when working with multiple applications, that takes a lot of time, but you're never certain you're working in the right data set, and if somebody else makes a change to your data set, can you see it in the other application you're working in? So that's chasing the single source of truth. We, as NVIDIA, we had that problem ourselves. We are a worldwide company. We don't think in regions or in countries or in offices. We have offices around the world, but a lot of people work remotely. We have a lot of team who create content, who do, but also creating new products. So the product design is being done in the 3D world. And that's actually where our business started. And the other thing is we have a large business which is strong in autonomous driving. So I think almost every car manufacturer uses our technique for autonomous driving or some sort. We have to train those models, and we wanted to make that available in the Metaverse, in a virtualized world. And from that aspect, we've been working on this for, I think, 5 years in different iterations, just adding products and product features to it. We came to a solution that's called Omniverse. So, quickly seen. On the left side, you have like the content creation. Everything comes together in the center, the Omniverse. And on the right side, there's the consumption of the content. So when people design a building or design the streets of a city or do anything, they create data that's been saved in a universal scene description or a format, USD, which is an open file format. We call it like the HTML for 3D content. So nowadays, every application saves data in its own file format. And USD is like an open source file format founded by Pixar in the beginning, but almost every large M&E company uses USD, and even now the companies who bring software to AEC and manufacturing also start to standardize to work with USD. But if you work from one data set, you can add more to it. So we can add physics to it, we can our MLDs, the materials. We can do real-time rendering, so you don't have to send your data externally anymore because it's all there, and with our technology and software from our partners, You can render it real time, so when you start to design, you can iterate, and you can see it real live in a viewer. But that can also be through full immersive AR or VR when using our Cloud XR technology, and that can be all around the world. So for instance, when a person makes an iteration to his design, on one end of the world, on the other end of the world, the client can see it in real time changing in his VR environment. So how do you see it? Omniverse is a platform, not a product, and we don't replace anything. So what we try to do is to connect anything. Nucleus, which is a piece of service software which is to be installed in the middle, but this can also be done on a single workstation, is the big director in the middle. It's not even that big, but that's where every of the existing applications connects. What you see here are just a few names we're already working with, which already can connect to Nucleus. And we're working on more and more applications at the same time. And that means if an application has a connector which connects to Nucleus, you can have a one direction or a two directional connection between your application. It's just an extra button in the top of your screen. And people can work in the same data set, or at least and read and or write to the same data set. And the list is getting longer and longer. These were the M&E companies, but we're working more with even large companies from the AEC industry, starting with Autodesk, but also with Rhino and Esri, and also with Bentley systems at the moment. So Nucleus is in the middle. You have like the storage, it just connects to your storage. That's where it saves your data. And with a lot of microservices on top of it, that's what you can add extra to your data. So this is what I said, like the physics and the material libraries, you can add it to it. And on the right side, and that's even more interesting for the future, is what we call Kit. So you see like a view, but there are also Cloud XR. It's a possibility, an SDK, where people can write their own application and use real-time VR or AR in a streaming world. But companies can build their own applications. So they can't change the data, but you can make use of the data, what's in there. So, and that's where simulation comes in. So you can build an AI system which uses 3D data to run its own simulations. That can be training of robotics, training of autonomous vehicles, but that can also be in a digital twin environment. So every company which works with a digital twin can have all their data from the same data set. When something changes, it changes real time in the digital twin. And you can do every form of calculation or analysis on that data. And when there's an iteration, it can be seen real time in the digital twin. And I think this is probably the most interesting part for AEC in the future. So it's not just only the collaboration part, but also connecting a digital twin to it. I think the biggest showcase we're working now is with Bentley iTwin, but it's an open standard. It has to be carried by the software vendors themselves. So we just supply them with the APIs. And more companies are looking into this. So if you see what are typically AEC use cases at the moment, which we can serve right now, it's the initial concept design, multiple people from multiple locations working in the same data set, but also accelerating your bit submission makes faster iterations, changes too when needed, but also do a real-time client presentation anywhere around the world in the streaming environment and make adjustments to it, or give the even give the end user multiple options where you can change, like when you create a building, if he changes the door, you can give him the option that he changes the door and the other way around or a different direction. And that you don't need to change that in your 3D model. Normally, that you bring that back as comment to your designer. They will change it in the 3D model. Then it will be rendered again. And then you will make a new appointment with your client. But with this solution, it can be done real time. Because if you have a real-time renderer making use of NVIDIA rendering software, and people online, the designer online and your client online, there's a real-time interaction and a real-time change. So and that comes where global collaboration and speedy design reviews come in. So what we're doing right now, that's what we're now, because Omniverse is an evolving platform. Not everything is there yet. We're working on it. I say it's not a product, it's really a platform which needs to be supported by the different ISVs. We're looking for seamless collaboration, designed to ray traced in one click, so that's the real-time ray traced and rendered content, and faster time for your approvals, or at least when you make changes to your content. And that's actually where I wanted to end for right now. The Metaverse begins. I mean, if you look at the news, you will see a lot coming to you. Facebook probably sometime next week would change the name of their parent company because they don't want to be a social media platform anymore. They think Metaverse is much bigger to them. And this is what we bring to the Metaverse in professional visual worlds. A better collaboration, more seamless collaboration, and yeah, a more safe and more beautiful world. We're connecting everybody and anything. I have a small video, but I'm already running out of time, so I will pass the video. For you to know, there's one slide which I want to mention, which is also in the deck. We have the NVIDIA Global Technology Conference, and we have a lot of sessions going about AEC and Omniverse, where a lot of our partners, software vendors, also the sponsors of this show, will be presenting. The link is in there. When you click it, you can register for free. So that's in the presentations will be shared afterwards. I will pass this one. Thank you for your time.